In a somewhat unsurprising turn of events, Six Flags' very vague comment about potentially closing one or more than one of their theme parks has actually come to pass.
Six Flags America does not fit the Six Flags Entertainment Corporation's long-term growth plans. They will be redeveloping the property at the end of the 2025 season.
Yeah, right off the bat, I gotta give it to them. I'm glad they at least gave a heads up. That bodes well for CGA as well. Hopefully.
Yeah, that's a big change of pace from King to Cobb, where we saw the closure after the ride had already given its goodbyes. Mm-hmm. But here we are, May 1st, 2025, and the park will be closing, I believe November 2nd is the final day. You do have all of 2025 to go get your final rides in at Six Flags America.
I actually used to live in Maryland for like 2 years. I lived in Prince George's County. This was technically my home park for those 2 years, and I made a few visits here and there. I didn't have like a big sentimental attachment to it or anything. I wasn't really a huge fan of it, but I do know that people in that area do love it. I feel like you have an attachment with anywhere you grow up going and you spend a lot of time at. That being said, the area in which this park is located in Bowie, Maryland, is very, very, very close to Washington, D.C. Land in this area, period, is worth a lot of money.
Yeah, which at the end of the day is the reason that they cite for closing the park. After reviewing a number of options, we believe that marketing the property for redevelopment will generate the highest value and return on investment. We anticipate strong interest in the property and will continue to strategically pursue portfolio optimization opportunities as we work to unlock the full value of our portfolio.
That means that this is not the last one.
This might not be the end. But for Six Flags America, it most certainly is the end.
Yeah.
I am mildly surprised, but also I'm not surprised at all.
I don't feel surprised because I feel like there were a couple of times where when we discussed the merger, I said multiple times, Six Flags America is going to be the one to go. I didn't want it to happen, but I understand why.
They've always kind of struggled attendance-wise. And I would also say more so than other properties, Six Flags America also had kind of a negative reputation. It was not always well sought after by families. In fact, I would say a lot of families were kind of deterred away from Six Flags America. And there's also a lot of nearby competition that is very strong. We have Kings Dominion about an hour and a half away. Hershey Park is not too far away. Six Flags Great Adventure, a couple hours from there. There are a lot of options in that area and things to do. And so I found that a lot of people would rather drive further away to go somewhere better.
Environment-wise, it was never the nicest Six Flags park. I would actually say it was one of the least nice Six Flags parks.
Aesthetically,
yeah, exactly. And then also, ride collection-wise, not overly astounding. I like Joker's Jinx, I like Superman, but there was nothing there that I'm, fixing to go ride,
yeah,
you know?
And it also just kind of suffered from a lack of investment. I think because it wasn't the most popular, the chain as a whole would always kind of do the bare minimum there. I would say their most recent investments have actually been on the larger end comparatively to their long-term plans. Mm-hmm. So they just did Steamtown, which was a revitalization of their Southwest Territory area. So they gave new trains to Mind Eraser. This year they gave brand new trains for Superman, which is a shame because they literally just put up a post saying, our second train will be ready for riding this summer. That tells you they did not know this was coming. This is brand new information. At the same time that we're all finding out about this, I imagine a lot of those employees are too.
I absolutely feel for the people who live in this area and enjoy going to the park.
All the employees who this is their job, whether full-time or part-time. A
Absolutely.
lot of people gain experience that they used to bring on for later in their life.
Absolutely.
So all that is that really is a shame.
So this isn't a Geauga Lake situation where the dry park closes and the water park stays open. This is it's done. And the way that it's worded and phrased, it's not someone could come in and buy up the park,
They've made their
Gene
decision.
Staples situation. I'm going to buy the park, and it's done. And here's the thing: is there's so much demand for housing around the DC area. I wouldn't be shocked if it just a ton of apartments or houses spring up. We'll have to wait and see, but that would be my guess. But it's not going to be. I doubt it'll be recreation.
Yeah, well, I mean, the park takes up 131 acres of land, but they own 500 acres of land. So. There's a lot that you could do with that, and it's tough to exactly put a value on that property when it's not for sale at the moment. But We ran it through an AI generator.
Yeah, I asked AI because I was like curious. Cause I lived over there, and I'm like, what does an acre of land go for something like this? And it gave a pretty large range when I like kind of gave it some information to work with. It said on like the low end maybe like 42 million, and on the high end could be like 260 million. And like that's not accounting for the cost of like demolishing and or moving things.
Right.
Yes, they're gonna profit from this, I'm sure, but they're gonna spend a lot to actually get this done.
Well, this also I think shows that they see the land as more valuable than the actual return on investment from staffing the park, but still just hoping that like those day ticket holders or their pass holders will make it financially worth it. Clearly, like the park has either been breaking even or operating at a loss. And so that's why they see this as the best outcome.
Yeah, well, I don't know this for sure. Like, I don't have, like, the data to really back this up, but just, like, a gut feeling. This is one of those parks that is heavily trafficked by locals with season passes.
I agree.
Like, it's not like a King's Dominion or a Cedar Point or a King's Island or Hershey where people are, like, traveling for this. It's more just people who are in the area. A lot of the times when I would visit, you'd see a lot, like this is pre-chaperone policies, but you'd see a lot of kids just wandering around on their own because a lot of times like parents that like live or worked in the area would just like get an annual pass for the kids.
Yep.
Drop them off. And this isn't just a Six Flags America thing. This happens at a lot of them. At least it did.
But I remember seeing it there too.
Those aren't the people that are there spending a ton of money, right?
No, families are the money makers.
Exactly.
Kids they're given $20 and it's like, here, go have fun.
When I was younger, I loved being able to go to like Great Adventure with my friends and stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, I can reflect and know that like I'm not the person that's paying their checks.
Right. Well,
or like paying their bills. It's just not a thing.
Yeah, well, and frankly, that also can be where some of the the problems came up like among crowds. You'd get a lot of like rowdiness that especially like during Fright Fest that just ended up being very problematic. There's a lot of videos that have really like popped off from some of these scenes that is just all this when you factor in the lack of investment and the atmosphere that just kind of leaves a lot to be desired, that all this ends up steering people away to other options. And so I think that's why at the end of the day, this decision does make sense as much as it does kind of suck.
If I had to pick a Six Flags park that I'd be most okay with saying goodbye to, like again, this doesn't have like this grandiose lineup. It doesn't have anything that I'm like, oh no, like I don't want to see that go or whatever. Like, and I imagine that some rides will be relocated. Well, actually, we'll talk about that because we have like a whole breakdown of that. But like at the end of the day, it's kind of like what I said before about like ride closures. Like every ride is somebody's favorite ride. Every park is somebody's favorite park. Tyler, who's been on the channel a lot of times, like you guys know him. He actually lives like outside the Baltimore area.
Yep.
And that's his closest park. And he said without going there as a kid, he probably wouldn't have become an enthusiast.
Yeah.
So there's sentimentality, there's a lot of people who really love the place. So, like, I feel for them. I do.
One of my earliest theme park memories was going here with my dad. Like,
nice.
I was like just becoming an enthusiast, and I was like, I want to go to, what parks can we go to that aren't too far away? And Six Flags America was one of those locations. And so, I can't say that I have like fond memories of here, but I have been coming for well over 10 years.
I've had fun memories there for sure.
No, there are positive memories that come from it. It's just like, I would say in the broad spectrum of various theme park experiences I've had, that Six Flags America doesn't quite, crack the list,
Yeah, well, when you compare it to like Fiesta Texas, or Magic Mountain, like obviously those are more of like the flagship parks, but I imagine that some of the smaller ones we're going to start to kind of see picked off. Especially ones that are in like areas where it's again valuable land.
Yeah.
Because if you own this many properties, it's hard to give like ample attention and funding to like that many places.
That's why I said they did a comprehensive review of their portfolio, and it was not a strategic fit with their long-term growth plans. And like that's a very professional way of saying we didn't want it, but like I kind of get it. Like it doesn't stack up against the others.
Yeah, well, and it's also a professional way of saying like this is worth a lot more money if we sell it than if we keep operating it. And
which is why they're closing CGA. Among the Six Flags mega chain, we now know of 2 properties that are closing permanently. I'm definitely going to miss CGA a lot more than Six Flags America. Yeah. But neither one is like, I feel great about this. It is a bummer.
A loss is a loss.
Exactly.
Right? Like it's, when you're a park lover or a theme park or a roller coaster lover, like you learn to appreciate every place for what it has, right? And it's like, even if I don't have like the highest of appreciation for the park, like still there are still aspects of it that I've learned to love and appreciate. And if you're good at being an enthusiast, you can have fun anywhere.
Yeah, no,
that's the thing.
That's
you know?
fair. And they did have some solid attractions. Some of which maybe we'll see relocated, but unfortunately, I think a lot of them will be demolished. So let's kind of run down the list, starting with the roller coasters. So Superman Ride of Steel is their largest attraction. It's an intimate hypercoaster over 200 feet tall, and unfortunately, I think this is a goner.
Well, yeah, this opened 2000, I believe. So it's about 25 years old. If it was like newer, I would say maybe, but
it's huge.
It's huge and it's old.
I just don't see them sending this to another property. I really don't.
And eventually it's going to need a lot of track work and things like that. It's old.
It would cost a lot to relocate this thing. Probably more than it's worth. I think they send the trains to Darien Lake
and other parts.
And that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Next one would be Batwing.
This is...
I don't like that ride. You know I don't like that ride. But I know that there are people who do, and I feel for you again. But this will be the end of the Flying Dutchman model.
The last one. Who would have thought the Batwing would be the last one? If you would have asked me...
The sole survivor.
10 years ago, I would have thought Batwing would close, followed by Nighthawk, and then followed by Firehawk. Instead, it went in the complete opposite order.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, this thing is... always down, but it's been able to keep its life going a bit longer because of the parts from Nighthawk now. This is not going to get saved, for sure.
No. Raging Cajun, which is a spinning wild mouse, I would be surprised if this didn't get relocated.
Yeah, I think this is going to go somewhere else.
I don't know if it'll go in the chain or if they'll just sell it to some other small park.
I'm sure they'll give... There's so many parks in their portfolio that I think for sure this is going to get sent to one of them. I mean,
that's more likely.
There's a lot of properties that could do with just a little simple ride like this. Yeah. This seems to be in good condition. Following that, we have the first ever B&M coaster. This is Firebird, formerly Apocalypse, formerly Iron Wolf from Six Flags Great America. It started its life as a B&M stand-up coaster. It is now a floorless coaster. This thing is still not good. So yeah, this is going bye-bye.
And I'm okay with that.
I think the trains could probably be saved. You could send that to another floorless coaster. And there are, I think, plenty of places that could benefit from that.
Then the next one would probably be my favorite coaster at the park, which was Joker's Jinx. I could see this being relocated, potentially. It's a good coaster. As far as I know, it's in decent shape.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I don't know if this is going to get relocated or not.
I'd send it to like Michigan's Adventure or something, because that's different than anything they have.
It is, but yeah, I think you just have to weigh like how long you think this attraction will actually be able to stick around for, because it opened back in 1999, so it is over 25 years old, which, that kind of makes me think that maybe it is done for, but if they think that it's worth keeping around, then possibly.
I mean, they could also, send parts and trains over to Fiesta.
Or Flight of Fear.
Or Flight of Fear.
Yeah, so honestly, my gut says that it'll probably just be used for parts, but it'd be cool to see that stick around. I give this a higher chance of getting relocated than some of these other options, such as Roar. This is one of the park's wooden roller coasters. Yeah, this is not going anywhere.
You asked for an RMC.
You're getting nothing.
You're getting nothing.
Yeah, this ride's going bye-bye. I think the trains will be sent to other PTC-related wooden roller coasters, and I think the same goes for Wild One, which is unfortunate because this is actually one of the USA's oldest wooden roller coasters, and it's a solid ride. But
I like that ride. It's fun.
Yeah, this is not going to stick around. It's not.
No. Next one would be Mind Racer.
Which is funny because it just got the new trains. I think
those trains are going to go somewhere
They're
else.
going to give the new trains to one of the SLCs in the chain that does not have the new trains. Like, I'm pretty sure Thunderhawk and Michigan's Adventure still operates with the old trains. They could.
I just want them to give them something.
Michigan's Adventure will, mark my words, they will benefit somehow from this. And last coaster is Great Chase. This is a small Zamperla gravity coaster. I could definitely see this getting relocated. Just a small, simple layout. Go to a park that maybe doesn't have a kids coaster or could use another one.
Yeah, that's probably about right. And then there's also some flat rides and such that I could see going either way.
I think
which one it is.
A lot of these flat rides will get relocated. So we're talking, we have the Wonder Woman, Sky Screamer, there's a Harley Quinn Frisbee, there's a swinging ship, there's a brand new Nebulas that they just got. They have a set of flying scooters. I could see every single one of these getting relocated. Especially some of these are not that old. Wonder Woman was only added a few years ago. Harley Quinn was relatively new.
Yeah.
Like, these are going to be in good condition.
Yeah, so I think those are going to go somewhere. I know Penguin's Blizzard River was in discussion of going away for a long time. I actually never have ridden that.
It's fine, but this...
I kind of want to.
I was saying this ride should have closed a long time ago, so no way this sticks around. They have another water ride called Shipwreck Falls. I think that's going bye-bye. Same with their drop tower. I'm sure the drop tower could go somewhere else, but Carowinds literally just closed their Intamin drop tower, and that got bulldozed. So if they aren't saving Carowinds', I doubt they're going to save Six Flags America's.
Yeah, and then they also have a pretty large water park. I don't really know, like, the logistics of, like, if you can relocate water slides.
You can. I'm sure you just have to rebuild the structure for it. I think that a lot of those water slides could get saved. I think it just depends on if they were able to find a suitable home for it. But I could definitely see some of this stick around, especially the water coaster that they just built. That's like their newest addition to the water park. I bet that's in great shape. They could probably move that.
Yeah. Overall, this is kind of crazy, but not overly unexpected. I could see it benefiting some of the smaller parks in the chain, but, at the loss of a park for a lot of locals, it does suck. And I do feel bad that this is the outcome. But again, the new company made it very clear that they're trying to cut things that are not deemed necessary anymore. And
it's kind of wild though. I mean, because especially like when you look at like the patterns of history, like as soon as Cedar Fair got involved, right? Because they have the history of closing Geauga Lake. So they've said for years that they're closing CGA. And now here's another one. It does make me think that if the merger didn't happen, then Six Flags America would probably still stick around.
Probably.
So yeah, it's wild the effect that the merger is having on the chain. Like, I mean, who would have thought that we'd be even talking about this today?
Well, yeah, and it seems like the trend now is that they're going to reallocate a lot of funds to parks that were in the Six Flags chain that like weren't getting the investment that they probably should. Like Six Flags Over Georgia like doesn't really receive the investment that it should, given how huge of an area and how populated of an area Atlanta really is. Great Adventure is on the horizon for getting a ton of investment because, again, that is a park that probably should have been getting a lot more to begin with, considering its location. Places like Worlds of Fun are going to keep getting a lot of investment because Kansas City is really up and coming.
Six Flags Great America, Chicago.
Great America, Chicago. Yeah, I think there's just some parks in the chain, mainly on the Six Flags legacy side, that have been underfunded, and they're like, these are really big markets, guys. And I know that the Baltimore, D.C. area is, but they already have a lot of good options, and that's what they're going to go with over Six Flags America.
I think it means that they're going to put more money into Great Adventure instead of Six Flags America, King's Dominion instead of Six Flags America, maybe even Dorney. Yeah. So it's going to be one that you're going to want to keep your eyes on, but bottom line is if you have ever wanted to visit Six Flags America but haven't been able to, there's quite literally no better time than 2025. Mm-hmm. So go get your last rides in. I know that we'll be there for sure, and it'll be weird to say goodbye to this park after visiting for so many years. Yeah.
Do you think that there's any other parks on the horizon that could get this axe?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I have a hot take.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot of backlash and hate for this one, and this isn't me saying I want this to happen. I just wouldn't be overly shocked. I don't know about Dorney.
Really?
I don't know where Dorney fits into what they're trying to do because they're going to try to build up Great Adventure to being this big resort. And then where does Dorney fit into that?
That's interesting. I don't know.
I'm not saying, this isn't me saying like, oh yeah, like I really do think it's going to happen. I'm like trying to get into the mindset that they're using right now.
They're thinking very analytically.
And like cost of operation and cost of land.
All numbers.
I mean, Dorney's in like the greater Philadelphia area, and like anywhere that's near a big city like that, like it's like
I don't know.
Like if Great Adventure wasn't in the same chain now, I don't know that I'd have that same thought.
But now that they're together, is their mindset gonna change?
We'll see.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not right.
I hope so too.
I was right about this one.
I know.
I don't want to be right again.
Yeah, stop making predictions.
Okay, I'm done.
Let us know down in the comments below, what do you think about the closure of Six Flags America in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.